Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. I know it's been a minute. Oh my, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I feel like I've been saying this for so long in my own personal life, but I feel like I keep getting ripped to shreds. And then I put myself back together. And I'm like, cool, this feels good. This makes sense. These pieces fit. And then not long after that, I feel like I'm ripped to shreds again. More so, obviously, energetically. And I think in big part that is because number one, maybe not even in any type of particular order, but like a culmination of all of these things. Jupiter is in my 12th house. And the last time Jupiter was in my 12th house is actually when I started my actual, real, and really a better word for that is intentional healing. I met a mentor at the time that really helped me unpack a lot of my subconscious shit. Literally, I think I cried for the first at least 3 weeks when we first started working together, before I was able to kind of start making practical, steps forward. So that was back in 2012. And literally, because I asked this person the dates of all of these things, and granted, they're not exact, but they're pretty close. Because this person has a defined head and ajna, on the human design side of things, and is just they remember everything. I'm pretty sure they've said they remember their own birth. I have an undefined head and ajna, so it's just shit is just swirling around in there. I remember the most random stuff, but not my own birth. So anyway, if you've made it this far, I will. A part of me is I might make this its own separate video, but the other part of me is it's probably going to end up being the intro, and I'll just put a time stamp in the description for when the actual reading starts if you don't want to sit here and listen to me ramble, because my defined throat, I have to ramble for a second. So bear with me. So anyway, back to my little ramble. How do you like my new setup? We'll see if this spot becomes permanent. It's at least temporary. We'll see how it goes, but I love it. I love the little plant vibe going on. So anyway, Gemini, Jupiter, that's my 12th house. And there is, it's this, first of all, it's a deeper understanding even of myself over the last 12 years, right? Just the work that I've put into myself, to understanding how I even became the person that I have become. And are there things that maybe I want to change that are just no longer fitting into my life, or I'm finally realizing aren't fitting into my life, which is the next thing. So Pluto, OMFG. Pluto has been squaring my natal Saturn since it went back into Capricorn, I have a 29-degree Saturn. And, Pluto has been at 29 degrees for the last, I don't know, however long. And not to mention, even before, right? Because it went into Aquarius for a sec, and then it retrograded back out. So Pluto has been squaring my natal Saturn for, I honestly have no effing clue how long. Not to mention, I have a 27-degree Pluto that's conjunct my Saturn at 29 degrees. So at some point in the last couple years, Pluto was squaring my natal Pluto. So, so yeah, that is also a bit uncomfy and has been a bit uncomfy. And I do feel like I'm finally starting to realize that, again, just the things that I was doing, how I was operating in my life, how I was operating in my relationships, how I was even approaching work and my idea of work and my whatever. I feel like I'm starting to finally get the clue on all of that. And quite frankly, I am excited for Pluto to just be away from from my Saturn, from my Pluto. I don't know, I'm not so educated in astrology to know, when that relief will start to come. Like, how far does Pluto have to be in Aquarius in order for me to feel a little bit of relief from that? Not to mention, too, Neptune was squaring my natal Neptune for the last, again, I don't know how long. I have a 28-degree Neptune. So there was that going on. Saturn has been tap dancing on my MC degree. Like, I think it made it to the exact degree that my MC is, and then it went retrograde. So it got there, and then it was like, oh, nope. I just heard that Aaliyah song, back, forth and forth. Because that's how, it seems like there's just, obviously, right? A lot of that going on with retrogrades and all of this stuff. So Saturn made it to my MC, which is in my 9th house. And then it went backwards. And then at some point it's going to go forward again and go over that bitch one more time before it leaves the sign entirely. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like in my 10th house. But I don't have any placements there, so it might be okay. But, and it's loosely opposing my moon right now. So, oh, and Uranus is almost right on top of my Chiron. I have a 27-degree Taurus Chiron and a 28-degree Taurus Sun. So, that's coming up at some point. All of that is to say that, I have not been consistent here in this space. And that has caused me a lot of anxiety because I really do enjoy showing up here. I really enjoy the expansion that this space, that, tarot readings, that, connecting with you guys offers. And I cannot guarantee that it would be more consistent going forward, but I want to, it is on my list of things to prioritize. The first thing being myself, because I really have not done that. I tend to sacrifice my own well-being, and that has been something that has, it's been at the forefront. So if you are still here, I am so glad And I want you to know that I do think of you often. What is so funny is that, okay, I didn't even put that together. This looks like a little succulent here in the middle, and then just these flowers around the border. That's so funny. I actually, just to kind of wrap this up, because now I don't even know what I was talking about before I realized that, but I was actually I was grabbing my microphone actually, and then I look over to where like I have all of my tarot decks crammed into this one shelf, and I was like, oh, I haven't used the Muse Tarot in a while, a long time actually. So I was like, do you want to do the reading? Because I always ask my decks before I even do the reading if they want to do the reading. I actually asked this deck if it wanted to be a clarifying deck. This is the Tarot of the Abyss. And this is the card that came out, the Five of Cups. So that's a no. That is a no from Tarot of the Abyss. I think I already shuffled, well, the Star card came out. The Three of Pentacles working together, the Fool. I love that. So yes, this deck was definitely a yes, but I love the coordination. That is so funny to me. So it's been 15 minutes already. If you listen to this whole thing, thank you so much for allowing me the space to share. And if you know your own astrology, if you've, if there's some crazy shit going on with you too, I would love to hear it if you feel like sharing, because I think it really does just help, to share those things, and even to just allowing other people to see you and honor you in your experience. So with that being said, let's get into the readings. Great. So this is a reading for Aquarius. Wherever Aquarius is in your chart, I hope you're doing well. Are you looking forward to Pluto going into Aquarius for the next 20 years? It's not all bad, right? Like big changes that take time, I once heard of Pluto referred to like the planet of like the full, like the full cycle, birth, the life in between, and then death. And, that's why it's, a generational planet. It takes, 20-ish years, give or take, to make its way through a sign. It's like, just big changes in little doses. What's the saying? Like the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. And I'm always like, why would I be eating an elephant? But like, that's obviously not the point. So anyway, I'm doing the readings a little bit different. The spread that I'm pulling is actually a 3-card spread with a clarifier for each card. So I'm not taking the jumpers anymore. I'm just going to shuffle a bunch of times, cut the deck twice, and I'm going to take the top 3 cards and the bottom 3 cards. Obviously, you'll see. I'm having such a hard time explaining that for some reason, like using my words. So let me just shuffle a couple more times here, and then of course we'll pull your cards. Okay. 1, 2. So current energy, current vibe is the Empress. Love that. So interesting how like all these planets are also in the like their veil or their cape, their jacket, their coat, whatever this is. The energy that's leaving or that you are releasing is the Lover's card. So we have Taurus or Libra, Gemini, and then what's coming in is the Ace of Pentacles or the Ace of Materials. I love that. So current energy, what's leaving or what's ending, what needs to be released, and then what is coming in or what you can expect. Let's clarify these. So with the Empress, we have the Page of Swords. With the Lovers, we have the Five of Swords. That's interesting. And then with the Ace of Materials, we have the ultimate new beginning with the Fool card, which is Uranus. And I believe in modern astrology, Uranus is associated to Aquarius. So I feel like Aquarius is the one sign that you can almost always count on the Aquarius card coming out. It's rare that you're not showing up in your own reading, I feel, consistently. You know, I feel like there's not a ton of times where the Star card hasn't come out, the Fool card. Just interesting how that happens, you know? So current energy being the Empress. Empress is ruled by Venus. Where's Venus right now? Scorpio, I believe, right? So whoever Scorpio is for you. But like I said, I think it is so interesting that there's all of these planets here. We have Earth, that's, I think, Saturn, right? Maybe, or Jupiter, I don't know. I think Saturn is the one that has the rings, right? Now I sound like an idiot because I can't remember. These kind of look like a couple like different moons or something. I don't know. But when this card comes out, like when this specific Empress card comes out, it really just gives me this feeling of being affected by transits. What's interesting is that Uranus is in Taurus right now. So again, you know, we have Jupiter that's in Gemini. There he goes. We have Jupiter that's in Gemini. It just went retrograde, I think yesterday. I'm recording this on the 10th. I think it was yesterday, maybe it was the 8th. Is Uranus retrograde also? I can't remember. But my point being that when I see this Empress card, it always gives me the feeling that there are big impacts happening in your life based on the current transits. Okay, I closed the door. I can handle like my dog barking, but the dog, like my neighbor's dog, and that high-pitched, like the high-pitched barking, I have a harder time with. You know, it's also interesting too how in this card we can see up here, those look like lemons, are they? I actually just think they're yellow dots. Like, I don't actually think that they're lemons, but they look like it. So it's kind of like that feeling of like when life gives you lemons, right? Make a lemon drop. Or lemonade, you know, whatever. Anyway, you know, the Empress card does talk about, it's the divine feminine, right? So it talks about nurturing something, nurturing yourself, nurturing your life, nurturing your career, nurturing, you know, self-care. Man, big distraction by dogs happening. I just had to go outside and get my dog to come inside because he was going crazy, barking. So anyway, we're still talking about the Empress. I apologize. I feel like my attention keeps getting like pulled in at least two different directions, right? Because there's the activity with the dog, and then I kind of forget like where I'm at. So, you know, and anytime I'm doing these readings, it's like whatever is happening is part of the reading. So I just wonder if there's like start and stop energy happening where you feel like you're getting some momentum and then something kind of pulls your attention away. If there is just something that is distracting you, we'll probably get to that actually with I almost said with the Gemini and Five of Swords, with the Lovers card and Five of Swords. But we're still talking about the Empress. So, Empress, divine feminine. They're usually depicted as pregnant too, but you know, if you don't want to get pregnant, of course, you know, this is kind of your sign to be a bit more cautious with that. If you are trying to get pregnant, it is a positive omen for that. But in tarot, pregnancy generally means the reproduction of something, being able to reproduce something, reproduce abundance, whatever that means for you, being able to reproduce opportunity, just, you know, opportunities show up at your door without you even having to worry about it because you're receiving, you're in receiving mode. Because that is the feminine, right? The feminine is receiving, the masculine is giving and initiating. So it's being in that nurturing, that loving, you know, vibe. And then we have the Page of Swords. Interesting too how all of the clarifiers are air. We have earth and air. Even the Empress is air. The Lovers is Gemini. You know, the Empress is also Libra. So that's interesting, actually. But the Page of Swords, pages are new. They're the apprentices, right? They're the ones that, they're the newbies. They're excited. It's like, you know, the bookworm or the career student almost too is coming to mind, because it's like not being able to get enough information. Like you just, you know, you are like a sponge. You want to absorb new stuff. I think it's also interesting how in both of these cards, right, like we have this figure that is really centered on the card, right? I think that's even kind of interesting how that just worked out that way. In the Empress card, their eyes are closed. In the Page of Swords, their eyes are open, and they're actually, to me, it looks like they're putting glasses on. So it could be seeing a truth more clearly. It could even be gaining clarity, because in the Page of Swords, like the Ace of Swords has already happened. You have the Ace of Swords in your grasp already. So, you know, there's something to do with truth. There's something to do with new information. There's something to do with like some, you know, even some kind of level of switching a perspective, or even your belief system changing in some aspect. Even where you think you belong. Like I just kind of heard friend groups or peer groups in my head, because I don't, you know, there might just be an expansion, you know, mentally that you're experiencing. And maybe you want to seek out people, groups, forums that are open to having like those conversations. I don't know. That's kind of interesting where where that went to. And what's leaving, or what needs to be released, what's no longer serving, is the Lovers with the Five of Swords. So the Lovers card generally, you know, I mean, of course, it could be literal with lovers, right? It could be connections. And if it's not a romantic connection, it could be platonic. It could be your friends. Again, your friend group. Since I was literally just talking about that with the Page of Swords. However, though, the Lovers card talks about decisions and choices that you have to make. So there is a decision that is coming to a head. Also, you know, that movie Matrix. I was watching the most recent Matrix a couple months ago, and the white rabbit in there says, choice is just an illusion. You already know what you want to do, right? And it's usually like we get stuck in indecision because we don't, like the choice that we know we want to go with, we somehow start thinking about how everybody else is going to be affected by it. Also, though, the Lovers card, it talks about yin and yang. So, you know, it's the masculine and feminine energies, and how there's a dance between those two energies also. And sometimes we get too caught up in the feminine, or we get too caught up in the masculine, and then maybe for a bit, you know, we're balanced out on, you know, the masculine and feminine. So there's also that play, even in this card, how there's this symmetry happening, right? It almost looks like a mirror, but of course the difference is the two figures that are in the card. So there could be some sort of like reflection going on here, which, you know, I mean, if you are coming up against a choice or a decision, then it is really taking a good look at yourself, right? And like, what is being reflected back? And if it is a relationship, then even that, because, you know, the person that we are typically in relationship with does tend to be a form of mirror for us, good, bad, otherwise, right? But it can help us grow, it can help us evolve, it can help us, you know, release old patterns, beliefs, stuff like that. And it's paired with the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords to me is the card of like a battle of wits, because there's usually more than one person depicted on the Five of Swords, and it's usually conflict. There's somebody who is trying to get over on two other people at least. Like there's usually three people depicted. One person usually has the majority of the swords, and the other two are just kind of like, ugh, eye roll, you know, or they're like walking away. And usually, I mean, you can be any one of those people on that card. Even like, see, even on this card, the mirroring thing that's happening is there's this olive branch here. People are meditating down here. There's crows flying, or blackbirds, I don't know. But again, with this being in the position of what is being released or what is leaving, if you are or if you have been in conflict with a partner, with friends, with family, with other people, in some aspect with your community, then this would be positive that there would be a solution for that. And it would be because there is some level of reflection happening. It's almost like people are going to be taking accountability for themselves. Like they're going to see something, right? Because that's usually when we look in the mirror, right? Like we usually are reflected back something, like we're seeing ourselves, you know, even Michael Jackson with the Man in the Mirror song, right? I mean, it's like, it's really taking a look at yourself, and maybe, you know, like all parties involved are doing that also, which is great, because then we have on what was I even going to say, on this side, this is, you know, what's coming in, what you can expect, what's next. We have the Ace of Pentacles with the Fool card. So again, two new beginnings. The Ace of Pentacles is a new opportunity. It could be a gift. It definitely feels like something coming out of the blue. There's also, I mean, I know that it's a pentacle card. I know that it's a materials card. So there's a lot of green on it, but it just is like hitting heart chakra. Even with the pink is usually heart chakra too. The Fool has a lot of purple in it. That's what, third eye or crown, or both. I don't know what the color difference is between those two, but so, you know, it could be a new job. It could be a new routine. It's definitely something practical. It's definitely something grounded in the 3D. It's definitely something tangible. Like you are taking new steps towards something, to building something, to, again, even the routine thing. There could be some sort of compromise, like whatever it is though, it's going to be new. I just kind of get this feeling of like, especially with the Ace, especially with the Fool too, it's like, it's not going to be something that you have either tried before or that you have even considered before. There's, you know, a brand new thing happening here. And it is going to feel like a leap of faith. This is literally a decision that like you have to make. I always see the Fool card as being that moment before you take the actual leap, because you have to make the decision to commit yourself to it, right? Like you literally have to decide, I'm going to do this. And usually the Fool card is depicted not mid-leap, but they're still on the ground. I mean, I do have at least one deck that I can think of where the Fool has already taken that leap, but they're usually still on the land, like on, you know, they're not in the air yet. But though, it's like they have made the decision. There is a level of commitment to it. Like even if they wanted to stop their like forward momentum, they would still end up falling forward. So it is a leap of faith. It is trusting the uncertainty. You may be like, I have no clue if this is going to work, because it is something new, right? Because we haven't tried it. If there's other people involved, maybe anyway, because you're an Aquarius, like maybe you're coming up with a new way of offering your craft, your passion, your creativity, whatever it is. Like maybe you're coming up with a new way of expressing yourself, of offering something where nobody else has done it this way before, or at least that you're aware of, but it works for you. You've seen it work. You feel, you know, third eye, crown, you know, it's like you're so sure of it. You can see the path forward with it. And so this would be saying that you're going to start putting that into practice, whatever that is, whether it's work, whether it's, you know, I mean, it could be, of course, work, taking on clients, or, you know, your boss, your daily schedule. It could be your relationship, however area of life. But it does feel like it hasn't been done yet. And there is this commitment here to try it. I love that. I love this. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I'm going to leave it there, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.